This is the Stormy Willow podcast, a lighthearted, balanced examination of the paranormal. Welcome to the Stormy Willow podcast. I'm your host, Adele.
And I'm your host, Sarah. Well, hello, Adele and Stormy Willow friends.
Hello. I'm pretty hyper. I am 1 week with zero alcohol, but I started drinking tea with caffeine.
Oh no.
I don't normally drink caffeine. I usually only drink water. So
I was about to say, you aren't really a caffeine drinker.
Yeah, so this mighty leaf tea is hitting me pretty hard.
Oh man, so see, I'm the opposite. I am like low carb. I'm like no carbs really, except for my cheat meal. No added sugars. And I had a cherry Coke for the first time yesterday in like, I don't know, months. And I was like, oh, I couldn't get it down. I was like, no.
I bet it tasted horrible.
It was terrible. I was like,
all that syrup.
But I used to be able to chug. Well, you know how much I love it. And I was like, like once you like get the taste out like of your system, it's really like disgusting. You go back, you're like, oh. I mean, I used to drink a soda like at least twice a day, and I mean that's probably not even that bad considering like a lot of people drink more than that, but I couldn't do it. And I got a tall boy too. I was like, yeah, someone watch the Elvis movie and drink me a cherry Coke, hell yeah. I was like,
yeah, soda's pretty nasty. I hate it now. Like,
yeah, it's like once you get it out of your system, it changes your taste buds or something. I don't know, but I was really disappointed in my cherry Coke. But I was not disappointed in Elvis.
Elvis.
We were talking about that for like an hour before we started recording. So I finally have watched the movie, and it was so good. It did not disappoint.
So good. And on a sad note, we did lose Lisa Marie Presley on January 12th, 2 days ago. So to me, the Presleys are the American royalty. So my heart goes out to Priscilla and Lisa Marie's children.
Yes, I second that. And it's so, we were just talking about how iconic Elvis was, and not only that, just how ahead of his time, and just what he did for racism and women and all the things. Like, if you haven't watched the movie, you'll learn a lot about him and kind of find a new respect for him, or I did anyway. So, and if you don't know about us, so I would say Elvis to you is like Bono is to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's hanging on my wall. Like,
yeah, like
I've always had posters of Elvis. I even had his action figure, like as a kid. I had all my G.I. Joes and Elvis.
Yeah, she even had a dog named Elvis. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I love Elvis too, but Adele, that's Adele's Bono. So she's been feeling it this week. So we definitely are thinking about that family. And just if you haven't watched the movie, it's a great weekend to watch it, to honor the king and his family, and also to honor Dr. Martin Luther King, who will be honored on Monday. So it's a good one to watch right now.
Yeah, it's very timely with passing of Lisa Marie. It was Elvis's birthday just on the 8th, so she was there at Graceland, and then hopefully now she's with Elvis.
Yes.
And it's Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday on Monday, so very good time to watch.
How time works like that. Yeah, so it's a great weekend to watch that movie. It's such a I think it's such a good timepiece too. Like you even mentioned, it's just sometimes when I think that our world can't get any worse, I look back and I'm like, we just haven't changed.
Like, it's the same. It's just we have cameras everywhere now.
Exactly.
And see your face, but it's exactly the same.
And so sometimes I'm reminded when I watch period pieces like that, yeah, our nation's definitely been through, our world, I should say, but especially our nation has definitely been through really bad things before. And it's just a different group to hate on, a different thing. So find your inner Elvis, I would say. Sweet.
Also, speaking of MLK, I got some fun facts about him that you might not know. Would you like to hear?
I would love to hear some MLK fun facts.
Okay. So first of all, MLK Day is actually his birthday, so he would have been 94.
Wow, he would have been 94.
Did you know he was born the same year as crap. I'm having a brain fart. Shit. It's the caffeine. I can't think of it. You know, she's in the Holocaust. You know what I'm talking about? She wrote all the books. Her journal.
Anne Frank?
Anne Frank. He was born the same year as Anne Frank.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Put that in perspective, right? Like, you always think that they're... And I think...
You feel like they're generations apart.
Right. They were both born in 1929.
How about that? Wow.
So she would have also... Well, yeah, she would have also been 94.
That's something.
Isn't that wild? So
really
just
weird.
Think about all those things in the world going on simultaneously.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been a rough time.
But yeah, so fun fact, his birth name was actually Michael. Not Martin.
I love a good Michael.
His father changed both of their names to Martin after he traveled to Germany, and he was inspired by Martin Luther. Yeah, because, you know, he was a minister, and so was Martin Luther.
That's pretty much like their family business for sure. Like they handed that down.
Yeah, so when he was age 5, his dad changed both their names to Martin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And you know, a lot of people know that Martin Luther King Jr. was very smart, but did you know he entered college at 15 years old?
So we're dealing with like a Doogie Howser situation. Smart.
Yes. So
that's pretty awesome.
If you ever question how smart he was, he skipped grades 9 and 12 and entered college at age 15.
And to do this all as a Black man in a time where what he was going through, like most Black children didn't even get a chance at education. That's truly something.
Yeah, so he was definitely very, very smart. He was arrested over 30 times throughout his life. Of course, a lot of this was, you know, social disobedience during protests and things. But there was one even bogus charge where he was driving 25 in like a 30-mile-an-hour zone and arrested for that. Like, so some of the stuff was bullshit, and he was just being
call that what it is.
Yeah. And this one, I thought, it kind of gives me chills. So his last public speech foretold his death. So King had come to Memphis in late March, early April. His speech was on the 3rd. He was assassinated the next day on the 4th in 1968. So he was there to support the strike of the city's Black garbage workers. And in the speech, on the night before his assassination, he told an audience at Mason Temple Church, I quote, "Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about that now. I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. And I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes has seen the glory of the coming of the Lord." And then he was assassinated the next day.
Oh my God.
And lastly,
crazy.
Not a lot of national holidays for people's birthdays. So only George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Cesar Chavez are the only others in America that have their birthdays observed as a national holiday.
Wow.
So
well, he absolutely should, hands down. Wow.
Yeah, and
that's just crazy.
Just that one of my favorite quotes from him is, "One day we will learn that the heart can never be totally right when the head is totally wrong."
Oh, that's the truth, isn't it? Wow, what a wise person, what a wise soul. And just his legacy, like you just think where we would be without him and people that followed, you know, in those footsteps. Yeah. And you think, and it's so weird, like you're talking about like the timeline, like he being born the same year as Anne Frank, and you look at where we are because of him now, but still how far we have to go. You know what I mean? Like it isn't that terribly long ago in some ways, and it's just I don't know. I just always have a hard time on this day. It's just really makes me so sad that his life would be taken.
And we're still here fighting the same shit. We got to get it together, people, and just move forward. This has gone on long enough.
It really has. It's I don't know. I'm speechless about it. I'm always very I don't know. It always tears at my heartstrings that people could be so hateful and so cruel. And then you've got people that are so wonderful too, like Dr. King. And it's just
and there again, I mean, I don't know, just that whole like, your heart being right but your head being so wrong, that definitely resonates to me, especially as a gay person, with people like protesting pride, not even understanding what they're talking about, or that this little passage in the Bible was actually changed in the 1940s, so actually it has no mention of hating on gay people or them going to hell. So why don't you use your fucking head?
I agree. And, I feel like that too as a woman. I'm reading a great book right now too. And it talks about, it's so good. And it's talking about a female scientist in the 50s, and how her life, like, no one took her seriously because she was a female. They're like, oh, you just need to go home and have babies or be a secretary, or, you know what I mean? And like how people would just not take her work seriously and use her brain and steal her work. And it's just, I don't know, just injustice, period. It just bothers me. I don't know. It just breaks my heart. It really does. So yeah, I love those facts, and I'm really glad that you shared them, because they needed to be shared.
Yeah, so it's a great King weekend.
It is. It's the weekend of the Kings, and I love it so much. So it's, definitely watch the movie and definitely take some time and just kind of reflect on why we celebrate it. It's definitely a celebration it's one that I can get behind 100%.
Yeah.
It's a good reason to celebrate freedom.
Were there any other events worth celebrating?
There are some events I wanted to share with you guys. So Friday, January the 27th, if you're out in the Alameda, California area, you can hop on board the USS Hornet and take a haunted tour. It is, and it's so cool because it's located at the Sea, Air, and Space Museum, which I'm like, in itself just sounds like a really freaking fun place just to go visit. But I think they even offer like overnight type tours too. So check it out. Like, I'm like, that's something different. Supposedly it's quite haunted.
I've heard it's very haunted.
So that would be really awesome. And then we are moving to Eureka Springs, Arkansas, where they're having a paranormal weekend, and their agenda is pending, but it's going to be located at the Crescent Hotel. It's going to be the weekend of January the 27th through the 29th. And this I'm adding on the bucket list, this third thing, Adele. For our friends that are out in Connecticut, in Derry, Connecticut, there is a place called the Derby Court. It's called Derby Court. I'm sorry. I think it's just a restaurant. It's called Derby Court. And anyway, they do dinners and tours, but it's supposed to be the most haunted restaurant in the US. And they even do they will host like psychic nights, paranormal nights, and I want to tell you, I can't read my writing, so I'm sorry. I think it's Derby, Connecticut, and I said Derry. Give me a second.
We can link it in the show notes, so if you guys,
yes,
look at the show notes, we'll add links.
It's Derby, Connecticut. I'm so sorry. My B's look like an R, and I was like, Derry, like Derry, Ireland, but no, it's in Derby, Connecticut, and hang on. And it just looks, I really do want to link it, because it just looked so cool. Like, I don't know, it looked like such a fun place. Oh, Twisted Vine, there it is. Twisted Vine, and it looks so amazing. But it's located on Main Street in Derby, Connecticut, and it's the Twisted Vine, and they host all kinds of stuff. Like, you can do ghost tours there, you can do dinner and ghost tours, the psychic night. They host like stuff every month. So if you're out in Derby, Connecticut, not Derry, go there. It looks awesome. I really want to go. I just got so excited about it that I didn't even write down the name on my sheet. So it's the Twisted Mind. And the food looks delicious too. The food and the drinks look really, really amazing. So check it out. It looks like a really good time.
Awesome. I have one other local event I want to call out because I don't usually call out local things or things that are not related to paranormal, but a horrible car accident happened about a week ago, and 65 Chihuahuas were in a van, car accident. This van hit a tractor trailer head on. So we've had an influx of dogs who need homes, as well as all of our local shelters being like overrun. A few days later, after the initial report, they estimated up to maybe 110 Chihuahuas in this van. Several of them escaped into the desert from where the van was ripped open. A lot of these dogs are very injured. They're all malnourished. They are dehydrated. A lot of them have had to have surgery. We just found out that 12 to maybe 17 of them are pregnant, so there's probably 30 to 40 puppies on the way.
What were these dogs doing in this van?
I don't know. There were 4 people in the van. They survived. We don't know what their intents were with the dogs. You know, we can have speculations.
But we don't know.
If they were rescued, bless you. If you had bad intentions with these dogs, I'm going to say this was instant karma.
Yeah.
But there is an adoption event tomorrow in Albuquerque, New Mexico at Wolfgang Bakery on Course Boulevard. It's from 11 to 3. So they are in desperate need of food, blankets, clothes, puppy pads, lots and lots of puppy pads, monetary donations. If you have space and the desire, please go out and adopt or be a foster to these animals in need.
And maybe we can link up like where we can donate if we're not in the Albuquerque area. Some funds their way.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just horrible. So Amanda and I will be out there tomorrow. We're going to talk to them about potentially fostering, maybe even adopting some of these Chihuahuas.
Yeah,
they're all Chihuahuas.
Babies.
We're little babies.
Hopefully, there'll be a lot of good stories that come out of this tragedy.
Yeah. I mean, they're all different ages. Like, it's really, really sad, but they all are in desperate need.
Yes. Well, thank you for telling us. We'll link everything so you can help. Like you said, if you have the space and the capacity, I'm sure that you take the help from anywhere.
Absolutely.
Gosh. Well, all right. Well, do you have a forecast for us this week?
I do. So the forecast for this week comes from purewow.com. So this is the week of January 15th through the 21st. Are you ready for this?
Oh, I don't know. Am I ready for this? I need to buckle in and run.
January 18th, Mercury retrograde is over. Yeah, so Mercury goes direct in Capricorn. So this means maybe some chats or projects that were put on the back burner at the end of the year will kind of resurface and come back up.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and also on the 18th, the sun conjoins Pluto. So note to self on that day, like, don't be overzealous and try to solve everything at once, because you might have the energy to be like, oh wow, I'm so charged and want to like problem solve everything. Just do one thing at a time.
Okay, good advice.
And then on January 20th, the sun enters Aquarius.
Oh.
And the new moon in Aquarius is on the 21st. So this is the real new year, quote unquote.
It's probably a good day to manifest.
Exactly. So this is a time to bring out your vision boards. It's time to vision and manifest. So maybe you'll have some new little family members that are little Chihuahuas, or, you know, whatever you're looking to manifest this year. It's a good time to do that on the 21st.
That's not a bad week. Not a bad week ahead.
No, not bad. That's really all I have. So short and sweet forecast.
I like it. That's good.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh gosh. Well, thank you, Adele. I'm not as fearful for the week ahead. Although last week wasn't bad, but the week before. Woo.
Yeah.
From that one. I still feel like I'm exhausted from that one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So you remember last week we got Presenter's Choice. So
After several rolls.
after several spins on the wheel, I got to pick.
You finally got it. Actually, didn't even land on that. We just went with it.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't land on it. We're like, look, no, just do whatever you want. So, I am so excited about this one. Any idea like what I went with just off the bat?
Something related to witches?
No, which is normally it's my favorite thing, but it's something we haven't covered, I believe, on this podcast yet. Like this genre.
Psychic abilities?
Nope.
Spirituality?
Nope.
I have no idea.
My friend, today we're talking about a little doll named Annabelle.
Ooh, okay. Ooh.
Yes. And we're also going to, you can't talk about Annabelle without talking about the Warrens. Again. So we're gonna get into that as well. Originally I had planned on doing a whole series about like a whole doll series, but there was kind of a lot to cover with just Annabelle that I'm just gonna keep it Annabelle and then leave the other dolls for another day.
Okay. So I'm thinking that too. Remember how I had Hera last week? And then, we're starting to kind of collect these bad girls. Maybe we can do like a mashup with dolls.
That's what yes, right? It's bad girls and bad dolls. Well, this one's pretty bad. Annabelle is bad. So when you think about Annabelle, like what comes to your mind? Like what do you like when you like her image? Like what do you see?
Well, I know what she actually looks like.
Okay.
But I do think like the latest movies with Annabelle, like from the Conjuring series, like she looks pretty creepy.
Yeah, like you think like
she looks obviously evil.
Yeah, like she has like the blonde pigtails, like the white face, and looks demented.
Yeah, like a porcelain doll.
It's kind of like a porcelain kind of doll.
Yeah.
Well, you might be really surprised to find that Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll. So if you're not familiar with a Raggedy Ann doll, they're really not intimidating looking at all. Like you probably even have had a Raggedy Ann doll. I was Raggedy Ann one year for Halloween. So
I don't know. I think the younger kids probably don't know Raggedy Ann and Andy.
But it was the thing, like it was just kind of like, they had the little triangle nose and they were made like out of cloth and they had like the yarn for hair and I'm not a doll.
They kind of look like scarecrows almost, but little dolls.
They kind of do look like scarecrows. Like they have like the same kind of features as you would see as scarecrow. So Annabelle, you might be really shocked to find out is like if you saw what she looked like, she doesn't look like the Annabelle that you might be familiar with in pop culture.
I'm curious if you're going to cover this. I think in 2020 she went missing for a minute.
We're going to talk about that. Yeah.
See, I just take that as even 2020 she was like, I just can't.
Yes, she did. Annabelle did. We're going to talk about that. We're going to cover it. But she does. Right now, she is in a glass case at the Warrens Occult Museum, and they have an inscription of the Lord's Prayer, and they also have the inscription on the case says, "Warning: positively, do not open."
Would you open it?
No, would you? I'm gonna tell you why. You would. I think you would.
If Zach Bagans were there, I would do it.
Oh, if Zach Bagans were there, I would definitely not do it.
I'd be like, Zach, you hold her, but I'm gonna open it.
Oh my gosh. Well, so she has been blamed for demonic possessions, violent attacks, and at least 2 near-death experiences. And we're going to get into all that.
Maybe she could be one of the bad girls too. I don't know. Would she go with the dolls or the bad girls?
Annabelle. But really, if you have not seen like the real Annabelle, like Google it because it's just gonna blow your mind because she doesn't look like.
She looks so unassuming. Like that's why I think I'd be like, yeah, I would freaking open that. I would touch her.
She doesn't look like the Annabelle that we I've come to know. So we're going to start with the very first incident. This is how Annabelle arrives on the scene. So we're getting back in our Pinto and we're going to 1970. All right, which is why I have like my 70s hair. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
that
why.
good. I'm not that good. But so basically, this story's been told like a million times. So there have been different variations of the name. So I'm
Of
just going to go
course.
with, what I have.
Just like
And
all the possession stories I've covered, it's hard to tie all the
exactly.
knots.
So we're just going to go with this. So as the story goes, Annabelle was a gift to a young girl. Well, she wasn't even a young girl. She was a young nurse. Her name was Donna. And her mom gave it to her for her 28th birthday, which I'm just kind of like,
That's a weird gift.
yeah, thank you. Like, I thought so too. Like in my mind, I thought like it was a gift to a child, probably like not to someone that's 28.
Do we
But
know
okay,
anything about the mom?
I don't know anything about the mom.
See,
But
we've been watching a lot of true crime, so we've been watching a lot of See
oh,
No Evil. So I'm already like,
like I want to know more about these parents that gave their
tell me
dog
about the mom.
gifts. Yeah, I don't know about the mom, but
Before
I do
an
know.
episode even started last night, it just said this girl was babysitting, and I was like, it was the dad, and I was right.
Listen, I too have gotten really good because another shout out to maybe as I digress here. If you've never watched Only Murders in the Building, I highly suggest it. I think Amanda would like it. Steve Martin, Martin Short. It's so great. And I forgot her name. She was a Disney kid too. I'm
Just
sorry, Lee, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, let me Google it. Guys, I'm telling you, don't get old like me. But it's like they have a podcast and they basically Selena Gomez. I don't know how I forgot.
oh, okay.
So it's an odd characters, right?
Yeah,
But
that's an odd group of people.
and Nathan Lane, but it works and it's very quirky. And there a murder happens in the building, and they're doing a podcast. And
Isn't she also a new judge on RuPaul's Drag Race now?
oh, is she? I don't know.
I might
Not
be
sure.
wrong, but it was somebody I was
But
like, really?
I
Wow.
got really, really close to guessing it, and I'm gonna just have to give credit where credit's due, and that's to my hero, Angela Lansbury,
Of course.
Baby Fletcher. So I feel like I'm really picking up, getting better too at solving things. So I'm like, oh, I knew it, but I still wasn't right.
See, I'm just always like, well, it's definitely a man, and it's probably the boyfriend or some man introduced at the beginning of the story. So that's where I was.
Yeah, well, this time, mom, whatever. I mean, maybe Donna likes dolls. Like, I
We're
don't
totally
know.
digressing here, guys.
But so Donna gets for her 28th birthday, she gets this Raggedy Ann doll that we're going to call Annabelle. And so she just loves it. She brings it back to her apartment, who she shared with another young nurse named Angie. So they're roommates. And so she's puts Annabelle, like on their couch because she's just like a little pillow accessory, on the couch. And
Every 28-year-old wants to
I mean,
accessorize with a
as
Raggedy Ann
you
on the couch.
do. I mean, like, why not? And before too long, Angie and Donna started to notice that Annabelle seemed to move around the room on her own accord. So that's the first kind of like, okay, I swear I put the doll like right here. Like, did you move the doll? No, I didn't move the doll. Did you move the doll? So you're kind of thinking like, obviously we're going crazy. Like this doll didn't just do
Or it
this.
was the roommate, right? Or like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
So it's
Yeah.
like whatever. And so Donna would sit her on her living room sofa before she would leave to work. And then when she would come home in the afternoon, she would find Annabelle in her bedroom with the door shut. And apparently like no one else was home, supposedly. So it just kind of creeped her out. And I would think I would think a grown woman that gets a present like that's almost 30 wouldn't be creeped out too easy. So that's just creepy in itself.
Yeah. See, I would be more like, is somebody going into my house and moving this around to creep me out? I
Yes.
wouldn't think it's the doll instantly.
Yeah. So then Donna and Angie started finding notes that were just left throughout the apartment that said, help me.
There too, I would think it's a person messing with me.
Yeah. So the notes were written on parchment paper, and they said they didn't even have parchment paper in their home. So it's like, is Annabelle like going to like other apartments and like
Is Annabelle like manifesting this
I
stuff?
just see,
Where's she getting
I just
it?
see a little Raggedy Ann doll like
Can I borrow some parchment, please?
yes.
Maybe she's the original Black Eye kid.
Ooh, maybe she is. She does
Because
have
she
big
has those big black
eyes.
eyes, right?
Ew, she might be. I don't
We
know. But
solved it.
in my
She's
head,
possessed by a black-eyed
but it
kid.
is. So, guys, this is another Stormy Willow case.
Cheers. We're done. Bye,
Cheers,
guys.
we're done. See ya. This has been another great episode. No, but could you imagine, like you open the door and you're looking, and then you're like,
What the hell is this?
Raggedy Ann. Hello, sir.
Some parchment, please.
So anyway, the girls find the notes on parchment paper saying, help me, help me. So they're like freaking out. So Angie's boyfriend, who I'm so excited to tell you is named Lou.
Lou. Oh, you know what's funny? We on See No Evil we were binging. A guy's name was Chris Lang.
Oh no,
he was found innocent though. He was the boyfriend that was
say.
legit, like just a good guy.
Did it well, like our friend, just a good guy would never. That's pretty funny. So Lou, who's Angie's boyfriend, was in their apartment one afternoon, and Donna, who the doll belongs to, was out and about. And he heard rustling in Donna's room. It's like he's like, oh my God, somebody broke in, and it's like in her room, kind of thinking like you're thinking. And so he opens the door and he didn't find like, anybody like opening the window trying to get in, but he did find Annabelle lying face down on the ground. Now,
you have a few too many.
Some versions of the story say that that she attacked him when he woke up from a nap.
Okay.
Which is also just kind of funny, seeing a Raggedy Ann doll just like beating the hell out of you when you get up from a nap. But yeah. Anyway, so all of a sudden now Lou's on board. He's like, okay. He's like, this doll is crazy. And Lou said he all of a sudden started feeling pain in his chest, and he looked down and saw bloody claw marks running across his chest. Kind of like, those evil, like,
yeah, like the demonic scratches.
Doesn't have any little fingernails, so I don't know.
I'm just imagining Chucky being like, do you want to play a game called Hide the Soul?
Well, 2 days later, the marks vanished without a trace. So it's like he has these like horrible marks, like obviously they're visible, and then 2 days later, they're gone.
Okay.
So following Lou's experience, the women are like, you know what? I know what we're going to do. Let's call in a medium, which I'm like, okay, let's do that. So the medium held a seance, and she told the women that the doll was actually inhabited by a spirit of a deceased 7-year-old named Annabelle Higgins, whose body was actually found years earlier on the site where their apartment building had been built.
Okay.
This is what this medium says. And so the medium claimed that the spirit was benevolent and wanted to be loved and cared for. That, she's like, I just want a family, even though like she's attacking people, moving, writing, help me.
Oh, it's just a cry for help, I guess.
Right. That's what this medium's saying. She's like, oh, she doesn't want to hurt you. She wants to be loved.
And she's also saying that this doll didn't come possessed. It didn't get possessed until after she arrived at this apartment.
It's so, well, we're going to get there. So the two young nurses were like, oh, we feel so bad. Like, yes, like we're going to we allow you, Annabelle, to stay here with us, and you can take up permanent residence here. Okay, not a good idea.
So they just invited this entity.
They just invited, like, yes, like that makes sense. Like this
that's great.
Just needs to be loved.
Was the medium in on this?
So we'll get there. So eventually, in the attempt, so finally things do not go as planned, and so I don't know that the details aren't really given, but finally they're like, we have to get rid of Annabelle. Like this did not turn out well. So what did they do? We tried the medium, so now we got to call an Episcopal priest known as Father Hegan. We got to get some help here. So Hegan he was a superior, and he's like, I don't really know how to handle this, but I have a friend of a friend, and here come Ed and Lorraine on the scene.
To the rescue.
We're gonna get some real professionals in on this. So as far as Ed and Lorraine were concerned about this situation, they felt that the two young ladies' troubles began by believing the doll deserved their sympathy, because they're like, okay, you believe that this doll deserved your love and affection and your sympathy. So the Warrens believed that there was actually a demonic force in search of a human host within Annabelle, and it wasn't a sweet, kind spirit.
That sounds more accurate.
That sounds more accurate, right?
Yeah.
So the Warrens' account of this of the account of this case states, and I'm just going to completely read exactly what it is. Says, spirits do not possess an animate object like houses or toys. They possess people. So that's just some good advice to put in your back pocket. An inhuman spirit can attach itself to a place or object, and this is what occurred in Annabelle. The spirit manipulated the doll and created the illusion of it being alive in order to first get recognition, which it got, and then two, the spirit was not looking to stay attached to the doll. It was looking to possess a human. So it was kind of like a jump. It was looking for a human host, is what the Warrens' case stated. So they did not agree at all with this medium.
So it's attached to it. It's not possessing it.
Right, is it wants to possess the human.
Okay, so I guess that's why it's so dangerous, because it's not possessing it. It can just hop.
Right, like it can just go from, from a doll to like my Kripken box or whatever,
Yeah.
It's trying to basically find a human host to possess and feed off of. So that's what the Warrens believed. So immediately the Warrens believed that there was definitely signs of demonic possession. They said like the teleportation, like the doll moving on its own. They're like, that's not a good thing. Materialization, like the parchment paper notes, and the mark of the beast is what they believe is what clawed Blue's chest.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they saw it. They also, the Warrens like, you know what we need here? We need an exorcism of the apartment to be performed by Father Cook. And so what they did is they took Annabelle out of the apartment, the Warrens, and they're like, we're going to take her to our house. And then we're going to get this apartment exorcised. And so following Annabelle's removal from the apartment, the Warrens documented other paranormal experiences involving the doll. So basically, this is the first incident with Annabelle. Warrens come in, take Annabelle, and then more shit starts happening like almost immediately after they grab Annabelle to take her home. So that was incident number one. So incident number two, Warrens had Annabelle in the back seat of their car, right? And so after the exorcism of the nurse's home, the Warrens put Annabelle in the back seat, and they're like, we're not going to take the highway or anything because there'll be more cars there, and we're dealing with a demon. We're afraid she might try to cause catastrophic accident, something like that. And so they said that they took like safer back roads just because they wanted it not to be, they didn't want her around a lot. So on their way home, Lorraine said that their brakes stalled and failed on them several times on their way back home. And she said they almost had a few near disastrous crashes just from her presence. And she claimed that as soon as Ed poured holy water from his bag and doused the doll with it, the problem with the brakes disappeared immediately. So he was like, stop it. I'm just imagining that like going on, and like as you do as you're driving with you always make sure you have your holy water handy to down, like in the spray bottle. Like
it's like in Bye Bye Love, with the the student driver.
The student driver. Yeah.
Annabelle's Janine Garofalo in the passenger side slamming on the brakes.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what they have a case of. I love that movie. That scene is the best. So upon arriving home, Ed and Lorraine placed the doll in Ed's study, and they reported that the doll levitated and moved about the house. And when they placed her in the locked office, they have like an outbuilding. So that's like a locked office in an outbuilding. The Warrens claimed she would turn up later inside their home, which would freak the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I cannot I can't. So finally, the Warrens decided, hey, we got to lock Annabelle up for good. Like, she's dangerous. And so they had made a specially made glass, and it's like this case is like made out of glass and wood. And as I said at the beginning, like they had inscribed the Lord's Prayer and St. Michael's Prayer for the rest. And for the rest of his life, Ed would say a binding prayer over the case just to kind of keep everything bound. And he would just kind of make sure that, you know, she stayed trapped and everything. So since being locked up, Annabelle the doll hasn't really moved again, though it is alleged that her spirit has found ways to reach out to the earthly plane. Mm-hmm. So here we go. Here's some more incidents for you. Once a priest was visiting the Warrens Museum. He picked up Annabelle and he said, oh, this is stupid. There's no way that this doll is demonic. So Ed told the priest, he's like, don't mock Annabelle. Like, please, like, whatever you do, don't mock her abilities. Just like, you're playing with fire, dude. Like, leave it alone. But this young priest was like, yeah, like, you know, well, as people do with the Warrens, and we'll get into that, and they do, as people just do in general, they were just like, you're full of shit. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's all, I don't care, whatever. Yeah. So he continues to like make fun of Annabelle. And so on the way home, the priest was involved in a near fatal crash, totaled his car, and he said that he had claimed that he saw Annabelle in the rear view mirror just before the accident occurred. All right. Years later, another visitor came to the museum and thought it would be just a really good idea to like tap on the glass of Annabelle's case and laughed at how silly people were to even believe in her. Because, you know, as we said, she does look very unassuming. So that he was like, this doll is stupid. You know, same situation. On his way home, he lost control of his motorcycle, crashed head on into a tree and was killed instantly, and his girlfriend barely survived.
Wow.
Now she claimed
people crash, huh?
Oh yeah. So the girlfriend claimed at the time of the accident, the couple had been laughing about the Annabelle doll. Uh-oh. So over the years, the Warrens continued to recount these tales. You know, it's something that they talked about a lot. And they've told about Annabelle's horrific powers. And here comes the part I really hate. Of course, critics don't believe them. And so, because we are a well-balanced podcast, this is what the critics say. They say, here are their three problems with the story. One, they say that the name of the young priest and the motorcyclist were never divulged.
Okay, two, yeah.
They said neither Donna or Angie, remember the two young nurses that were Annabelle's first victims, they never came forward with the story.
But do we know that they're real people?
We don't know. And three, here we go. Neither Father Cook or Father Hagen appear to have mentioned their exorcisms of anything like that.
Yeah, that's kind of a hole.
Yeah, so a lot of people feel
problematic.
They just feel like, you know, and this is hard for me because I do like the Warrens personally.
Oh yeah, I love the Warrens.
I'm a huge fan of them, and I do feel very much, I'm going to get personal, like with what we deal with, right? Like when we go on our ghost adventures, and it's really hard to find evidence, and it's frustrating. Like, you know, it's there, but it's hard to find. And I think the Warrens have found probably more evidence than anybody, but it's just, there's just always
a level of doubt.
A level of doubt. And I get it. Like, I do. Like, I tried to really be, well, I don't know. I try to see both sides of it. And then these are three really good points, you know, but we don't know who these people are that said that. You know what I mean? Who are given these accounts. Like, did they really try to find the Father Cook, or are they just saying that? Like, I just know. I
just think it's so funny how much like religion says you have to take it on faith, and people are just like, sure. But with anything else in the world, they aren't like that.
You know, it's a good point. It's a true point. And I guess I think about, like, yeah, these are great issues that they bring up, but I mean, I don't know. I just think when you're dealing with stuff, especially the level that Elaine or like Lorraine and Ed had, I did a mashup of their names there. Um, I'm a huge fan of the work that they've done
Yeah.
personally, and I know a lot of people have their own opinions about that, but I personally like them. I think that they've done phenomenal work. I think they were way ahead of their time.
Yeah. I mean, it does always bother me, even with these possession cases where the names don't match
Right,
up,
right.
or certain accounts in certain time periods don't match up.
Sure. And I get it, and I think a lot of it, like I don't really necessarily have a scientific mind. So I guess I'm more of a believer than a lot of people. And where some people really want like hard evidence or there's nothing wrong with fact checking. Like absolutely there's nothing wrong with fact checking. But I don't know, like I don't know what I think. I don't know if this really puts a hole in the Annabelle story for me or not. I'm not really sure.
I mean, it sounds to me that what needs to happen is some experiments with the doll.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's a good point. Like maybe
She's
there
still
doesn't.
there.
She's still there. Well, that was until 2020. You remember when you mentioned earlier on the podcast? And I remember as if things weren't shitty enough in 2020. I remember when this report came out. So here's what really happened with that story. So in August 2020, reports surfaced that she had escaped from the Warrens Occult Museum.
She was given to me for my birthday that year.
And now it is in Adele's curio. And have you had any experiences, Adele?
Thus far, not yet.
But so basically that's what I was also going to say is that you've been keeping us safe, and we really appreciate it since 2020 that you've been keeping Annabelle under lock and key.
That's the least I could do. I mean, with a horrible pandemic out there, I had to at least keep Annabelle off the streets.
You are such a hero, such a giver, and I really want to dedicate this one to you because I knew you were too humble.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's what I do.
No, so of course, when this really happened and Annabelle was missing, it was everywhere on social media in 2020. And so this is not true. And so the Warrens son-in-law was there beside her saying, no, it's not true. She's right here with me, because he now takes over a lot of that. And so his last name is Farah, and he assured everyone that Annabelle was still under lock and key, and it was there in her glory, and she never left the museum. So I don't know where that rumor started, but Farah, who is the Warren's son-in-law, said that to basically, like, she's been terrifying people, or they've been scared of her for over 50 years, and he said that he would be concerned if she ever did leave, because he also agrees that she has nothing to take lightly, so he's not one for her ever leaving there. So just a side note about the Warrens Occult Museum, if you wanted to go, I'm sorry, you can't. It's closed right now. It's been closed for several years, but Ed and Lorraine have both passed on now, and their legacy has been carried on by their daughter Judy and her husband Tony Spera. And until the death of Ed in 2006, Spera also considered him basically a protege. Like, Ed loved his son-in-law, and he learned a lot from them, and he felt that that he would be good at carrying on for the artifacts, the dangerous artifacts that they have. So of course they still have Annabelle there, and he still cautions visitors whenever the museum was open about the power. He said it's probably Sparrow considers Annabelle probably one of the most dangerous objects in the museum. That's how, like, he's like.
Wow.
And so, as if this couldn't get worse, and tell me, this is who is in a society like this? An investigation by the New England Skeptical Society. Like, who would be in a skeptical society? Why? They proved that the artifacts in the Warrens Occult Museum were mostly fraudulent, citing doctored photos and exaggerated storytelling. But for those who still doubt Annabelle's powers, Spears says he's like, it's like playing with Russian roulette. It's like there might just be one bullet in the gun, but you still pull the trigger, and you or you just put the gun down and don't take the risk. So the skepticism doesn't really seem to bother him. He's like, you feel free, I guess, when the museum's open, to come and check it out. So some
I
fun,
say release Annabelle to that group.
yeah, I
See
mean,
what they
let them
find
do
out.
experiences, yeah, or experiments and experience her. So just some fun facts about the Warren House I didn't know. The Warren House was actually used in several films and TV shows, including The X-Files,
Oh,
Buffy
I
the
think I have seen it in the
I thought that was
X-Files.
so cool. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Twilight Zone, and Dexter. Never
Wow.
knew that. And so, as I mentioned earlier, the Occult Museum is currently closed due to zoning issues, and
Zoning.
hopefully it will reopen soon. And you can go to the website. It's Nesper, Nesper. .com, and it looks so freaking awesome. Like it, and like they have a lot of, like, the website, I'll link it to our page. It just looks really cool. Like I would love, once they get the zoning stuff squared away, I would definitely go to their museum, and
Oh
I would
yeah.
not see Annabelle. I would just be like, hey Annabelle, what's up? And just keep it moving. So that is the story of Raggedy Ann, aka Annabelle. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good one. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I would like to see her for myself.
Yeah,
I
yeah, for
don't, I mean,
sure.
not necessarily take her home or anything, but hey, if anybody's up for, which it sounds like this group is, like the Skeptical Council,
Yeah,
if
but
they're up for like doing experiments or
yes,
playing with fire, go for it.
because I'm gonna say, like, there's nothing wrong with being with fact checking, but to go as far as being skeptical and being on or in a skeptical society, I say, okay, well then take her home. Sign a waiver, take her home, and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I would, but I don't know. I think this also gets into like other theories. Like I've heard theories where, maybe paranormal activity isn't an entity or a person, it's you. It's like your psychic energy.
That's
So
a good,
I
a good
think that
thought.
could be a really interesting experiment though, to where like maybe it's almost like if you believe in it, it does things, but if you don't, it doesn't. Or if
Right,
you have psychic abilities, it messes with you, but if you don't, it doesn't. So I mean,
right.
aren't we all just looking for the answers? I say let them experiment with it
Yeah,
and
like
do,
why not? I mean, and just instead of saying, like,
it's something the entire
try it.
paranormal community could benefit from.
That's very true. That's a
I
good
mean,
point.
at the end of the day, we're all just looking for the truth, and we all think that there's some things that are just unexplained. Why not try to work together and figure out what they are?
Exactly. Like we don't have to put such a line in the sand. Like, yeah, I agree completely.
Put your
Like,
money where your mouth is.
yeah,
Let them take Annabelle and do some experiments.
I agree. Why not? And I'm not saying that there aren't people out there, and I get it. Like, I kind of get that whole Houdini camp too, like where I get
Yeah,
where he was coming from with not wanting to hurt people by giving them false hopes. Like, I totally get that. But I do think there are really cool things that happen out there, and you just got to open your eyes a little bit to it. And yeah, it may not be explainable, but it's there.
yeah. I mean,
That's
there again, and if it is this whole psychic kind of thing, maybe like that's what she does. She makes you wreck your car. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know either.
We
I
will
just
never know if people
know
don't
I
experiment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I will say I do find dolls creepy just in general. I don't know, I just do. Like I love to antique and I love that sort of thing, but the dolls always are a little like, I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, how mom's afraid of clowns. A lot of people are. I think it's like that with dolls for other people.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, both are quite creepy.
Yeah,
Pretty creepy. It's like,
unless
well,
it's an Elvis doll, then it's fine.
unless it's an Elvis doll, then it's fine for
Yeah,
sure.
except for the Elvis doll at Needful Things. That was just kind of weird.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it wasn't the Elvis doll. It was the fan. Watch Needful Things if you've never seen it. It's a
Oh,
good movie. It's
it's
a
been
good.
a long
I've
time.
never read the book, but it's a
I've
good
never read
movie.
the book, but I always remember watching the movie with mom.
Stephen King. You can't go
You
wrong.
can't go wrong. classic king of
Yeah.
horror. Well, speaking of a horror, do we want to spin the wheel and see what horrifying topic we
Yeah,
land?
sure. Let's see what the and you know what? If I don't like the topic I get, I'm just gonna keep spinning
Well, you can do that.
like some
Well, then if we
people.
do that, then we're gonna have to just get rid of the wheel, you know.
Yeah,
But
I
you
know. I'm gonna try to keep it pure. All right, let's see. Let's see where we end up. Theory. I'll take it.
You're gonna take it? Theory?
I'll take it. I kind of just shared one.
Yeah, you
Now I
did.
got to pick another one.
No, you can still. Hey, you can still carry on with this. It could be Annabelle part. It could be Annabelle part 2 with
Yeah,
theory.
psychic energy behind it. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
I think that'd be awesome.
I will take theory head on. There are actually some pretty interesting theories out there,
I
so
love it.
I'll run with that.
I know you'll do a good job as you always do.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I hope you enjoyed the story and I hope you have a great weekend. And as we say here on our podcast, thank you for listening. Stay curious
Stay safe.
and never
Trust Annabelle.
the
The living,
yeah, Annabelle definitely falls in that category.
the living or dolls.
Or dolls, for
Or
sure.
living dolls.
Oh, God, especially those. Bye, you guys.
Bye.